before I get going on this, and I'm sure we usually got one or two still going. Where are my juniors at? Okay. I knew we had one or two in here. Okay. You were doing registration today. Do you know what you were registering for? You're supposed to have that figured out before today. Okay. Um, sophomores, you're all on Wednesday. I've talked about it enough times in here. Last time, short version. I want my diploma and nothing else. Let me out of here. After this class, if you're going to be a junior, register for business math, you're good to go. If you are a current junior, it depends on whether or not you have an IEP. If you have an IEP, one of the accommodations that can be written in there is that your algebra half from last year would count as your one other algebra or your one other math elective credit. That is a decision between you and your team, though. That's between you, your case manager, and your parents. And that accommodation can only be put in there under certain circumstances. That's why it's a team decision. Don't rely on it. Talk to your case manager. Otherwise, sign up for business math and you're good to go. That's if you just want your piece of paper and get me out of here. I want my diploma, let me leave. If you want to go to a tech school, like you want to go to Mitchell Tech, you want to go to Lake Region, you want to go to Western Dakota Tech, those are very, very good schools for getting you the training you need to just make more money than would you like to fries with that, okay? If you want to go to one of those schools, the minimum you need is geometry. After this, you will register for geometry. You will not be able to register for the regular geometry classes. It's going to be a geometry and it's going to have a little asterisk next to it, just like this algebra does. It's a permission-only class. I don't even know that it's available as a drop-down when they register, because the Infinite Campus, the academic planner that y'all had to do, it's missing like half the classes for the school when you try to do certain categories. It is a instructor permission only class. If you need me to sign off on something so you can get into that class, I will do so. Okay, but that's the ground floor bare minimum to get into a tech school. If you want to go to a four-year school, if you're a junior, your path is to go to a tech school first and then transfer into a four-year school, because you literally do not have enough time to get all the way through Algebra 2. You just don't have enough semesters on your available left to you. If you're a sophomore and you want to go directly to a four-year school like BH, after this, come talk to me. We'll talk about where your math skills lie, about whether I think you can do this or not, whether we should aim at tech school transfer or not. We'll talk through things, and I ain't going to gaslight you, but I'm also going to be realistic. Okay? If you want to go to a four-year school, the minimum you need is Algebra 2. So after this, you would go register for the regular Algebra 1 and probably geometry with it, double dip next year. And then you would register for Algebra 2 your senior year. Okay? So hopefully everyone knows what they're doing. That's the last time I'm, Forrest Gump style. That's about all I have to say about that. All right. What was the very, very first thing that we always looked for in these? Is. Is, am, was, were, are my being verbs. Because is means equals unless I smack is next to some other words. Is smack next to some of those special words? Yeah, it be. Is no more than. Is no more than tells me I'm going to have an inequality. What kind is it? the number of absences you have is no more than. So yes, it's going to be less than or equal to, because I can be right at the line. Now, on left and right, I'm going to match these two things. On the left, 7 less than twice a number. This is going to be confusing because I see less than kind of looks like an inequality. Why is this not an inequality? No is smack next to it. So what does 7 less than mean? I'm going to subtract. There's going to be a 7 involved. I have said this about 1,000 times now. What does less than mean? Is it 7 minus a thing or a thing minus 7? Less means subtract, less than means put it at the end. We said that so many times. I told you to write it on that little chart or next to the chart. If I see less than, more than, fewer than, greater than, it's like that annoying person on the other side of the speaker at the drive-thru, and then it's telling you it goes at the end. I'm going to subtract 7 from something. Okay, so 7 less than tells me I'll subtract 7 from a thing. That thing is twice a number. Twice means 2 times a thing. That thing gets cut off as soon as I hit is. So when they say twice a number, they're just saying 2 times a number. The quotient of, what's that mean? Okay, the quotient of, quotient means I'll divide something. So it's something divided by something. And the way that they tell me in the problem, all the way until I hit the period there, the way they tell me in the problem is exactly how I'm going to write it. The number then 2, not 2 then the number. When they tell me in that order, the number then 2, it tells me the number then 2. Now, I have an x over here and an n over here. Was I supposed to do that, or are they supposed to be the same? Oh, it does. When it says the number, it is referring to the exact same number. They should both be n or both be x or whatever your variable was that you chose. They're supposed to be the same thing. And now you solve. Step 1, who's lonely? Okay, so if I subtract 2x, subtract 2x. Oh, no Paxton line. We should put that up there. That ain't a brownie point. It's not required. If you want that to be a brownie point, then I'm going to go mark every single one of your tests wrong if you don't put that on there. I want you to think about how many of you actually put that there. Okay. So, I know that this is 0. I know I've got a negative 7 here. Less than or equal to. We've gone through this enough times. X over 2 is the same as 1/2 x. This is 1/2 x minus 2x. What? The charger? Yeah. That is currently plugged into someone else's thing? Yeah. No. Right. Any other time? Yes. What's half a thing minus 2 things? Or what's half a dollar minus $2? You have half a dollar. You want to buy something that costs $2. You owe $1.50. You owe 1.5. Okay, or you owe negative 3/2 x. You can always grab a calculator and say 1/2 minus 2. That works as well. Now, I got something up in front of x. They're all hugged up on each other. How do you get rid of it? Dividing by fractions is easy as pie. Flip the second and multiply. Or grab a calculator and say -7 divided by -3/2. That'll tell you the same thing. Okay, if I multiply these two, I'll get a positive 14/3. If I take a negative by a negative, they cancel. If I take 2/2, they cancel. If I take 3/3, they cancel. I get just x. Ladies, gents, and folks of all strokes, we have multiplied by a negative. Now, if you left it like this, I'd be okay. If you didn't like that and you decided to pancake flip the whole thing so it reads the way we normally say it, I'd take that too. Now, the solving part. Who got all the way to the end of the rainbow? 100%, 5 out of 5. Okay, I knew that wasn't going to happen just because I was combining inequalities plus fractions, and it was predicated on being able to write something out from words. I know this is difficult from us. I wrote all that out. What I'm looking for is the translation. All right? This is what I want to see. Your points are as follows. Do you have 2 times x? Do you have a minus and a 7? Do you have them in the correct order? Do you have the x over 2? Do you have the correct inequality? Okay. You have 2x because it's 2 times a number. You have x over 2 because it's a quotient of. You have a subtraction and a 7 in there. You have the subtraction part, but another point specifically for you have them in the correct order. You have 2x minus 7, not 7 minus 2x. Those are not the same thing. Okay? Any questions about it? Please tell me you still have your full packet. I know there's a handful of us that needed to get a replacement packet. Hopefully we used our weekend to go find it. Hopefully we didn't light it on fire because your teacher told you about 20 times to keep this. This is where we're picking up after finals. I hope. I hope. I hope. Okay. What's the expression? Like you can wish in one hand and crap in the other, or you can hope in one hand and crap in the other. See which one fills up first. Yeah. Yeah. That's an old people saying. Even that's before me. All right. What's this page 17? I think. No, it means your parents are. Okay. We left off with we're graphing stuff, right? Remember the idea behind this was and means what has to be true. If I graph this and I graph this, what has to be true to be my answer? The middle, where they overlap, because and they both have to be true. Breakfast burrito backfire, huh? Okay. Now, we started to do solving compound inequalities. I know we did 7. I don't know if we did any more. Okay. So just to remind us, everyone headed over to 8. And remember, this is like a weird triple balance. We'll make Leslie happy and we'll put 2 Paxton lines on there. Okay? What you do to one section, you have to do to all 3 sections. So if I add 5, because I want that P by itself, I need to do it to all 3 sections. You ever seen one of those triple balances, like in a physical science classroom? Okay. Right? If you take a little bit off of just this side or a little bit off of the middle, the whole thing gets wonky. I need to balance all 3 parts. Getting -3 plus 5 is how much? 2. Zero that out, just P in the middle. 2 plus 5 is 7. And Pac-Man has not changed my inequalities because I didn't multiply or divide by a negative. So those are still in the same direction. Yes, ma'am? Oh, jeez. Man. Dang, dude, we ain't doing so hot to this. Oof. We had like 4 days of Baby Bear sleeping. Had like 4 days. And then right back at it. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you remember how these are graphed? I hope you wrote the note. Remember, the idea was your small boundary less than x less than your big boundary. Okay, when they're written as an and sandwich like this, they're telling you my answer is between these 2 numbers. So I go put a circle on 2. I go put a circle on 7. Then I ask whether they're open or closed. 2 is closed, 7 is not. And because P is in between them, you shade everything in between. Okay? I would like you to do number 9. Done the same way. Nine done the same way. Remember, triple balance. What you do to one section, you do to all 3 sections. Hello, friend. Oh, wait, no, that's a 1, 3. Never mind. I'm looking for a very, very specific trash 2-cent common.
I'm not surprised, but you just contemplate me anytime I go through my dad's phone. Except instead of pillow for 9 foot, please. I'm just gonna like teach you English.
I have a learn to play deck that's all 5 colors, and all of the keyword abilities have the reminder text on there, so they have to come from core sets.
Man, my dad didn't do that. He just gave me a green deck and said, "Here, have fun with that."
Well, it's the difference between being a teacher and not. Okay, these are pretty quick, right? What you do to one section, you do to all 3. So you put your little packs and lines on there. If I subtract 2 from here to get x by itself, I have to remember to do it to all 3 sections. Do it here and here as well. You end up with -6 is less than x is less than or equal to -4. Cool on numbers. If the numbers are cool, then you go to 6, circle, 4, -4, circle, open or closed, which ones? Okay, so we fill it in, and everywhere in between those two. Keep in mind, this is how I want to write my answer for an and sandwich. So you notice the next couple ones, they're not all written this way. They're not all written out nice for me. I have to remember at the end of the day, because they say and, I have to write my answer like this. Why are you taking a random picture of Sean?
Be real. Yes, be real.
That's the one where you're supposed to just,
Stand there off the side.
just, what are you doing right now? Pictures? Yeah.
Everybody wants to know where you're at.
Boy, that doesn't sound like it could be used to track you and steal your identity and your location and stalk you and potentially murder you. So, number 10. Notice it does say and in there. Just like up at the top, remember when it said and in between two of them, we graphed both, and then we saw where they overlapped. Solve both. Solve them separately. I would recommend putting like a big and in between there, so I remember these are two like separate things. These are two separate inequalities, solve them separately. Contestant 1. How do I get y by itself? Not plus -1, just +1. Yep. So I get y is less than 3. Contestant 2. How do I get y by itself? -2, -2. I zero that out and say y is greater than or equal to -1. Remember, I don't know how these are going to end up. And there are some weird unicorn problems where it's an and they're both going the same direction. So don't assume. We are going to talk about those today. This is where we do our quick sketch. This guy. Y is greater than or equal to -1. Where's my circle? Open or closed? Okay, so do it lightly. Don't you dare do it in pen. I'm going to say close circle. Do I go right or left? See the little arrow telling me to go right? Y's are bigger on this side. Okay, green. Y is less than 3. Open or close circle, where? Open on 3. Which way am I headed? Okay. Now I said this is just a sketch because I have that word and in between them. My answer is where they overlap. Where do they overlap? Are they both true here? Are they both true here? Are they both true here? Yeah, they are. All the way until I hit at 3. Will I keep the open circle or will I close it? I keep it open because the green one is not true here. So at 3, they're not both true. And that's my answer. I'm going to close circle here all the way until 3, open circle here. Y'all, please get rid of this stuff. That is not part of my answer. Get out of here. Nope. All right, screw you. You're just gonna be that way, aren't you? Okay. Yo, please write your answer though. Your actual answer. Doesn't it go from 3 to -1, or does it go from -1 to 3? If it goes from -1 to 3, then that's how I write my answer. I say -1 is less than y is less than 3. Do either of those get underlined? Are either of them or equal to? Isn't the -1? Here, let me get rid of this guy. The -1 has a closed circle. Please make sure you put a or equal to with that guy. They're always going to be written the same. Small boundary is less than, variable is less than, big boundary. It's just whether or not I get the or equal to. They are always written that way. So you solve them separately. Sketch graph, where do they overlap? Solve them separately. Sketch graph, where do they overlap? Number 11 is done just like that. See what you got. Solve separately. Sketch both. Yeah.
Can I go get caffeine, please?
Okay. Solve both separately. Sketch your graph. Yo.
I know like how to graph it. I just know how to figure out if it's like true and like which one's open or closed. I know these are both open.
Yeah.
So, like,
So -1 open.
Yeah.
2 open.
Yeah.
And that way.
Yeah.
And that way. So where's my answer?
In between these two.
Okay, so my actual answer looks like this. Now you get rid of this other stuff. And this is your and sandwich. -1 here, and in the middle, 2 here. Pac-Man always eats to the right because big numbers are always to the right. That's it. It's always going to be written like this.
Okay.
Every time. Because big numbers are on the right. That's also why we have to sketch it, because if we didn't, like look at this one, see how when we solved it we got the 3 with the left problem when we got the -1 with the right problem. If I didn't remember they're supposed to be in that order, I might have accidentally put 3 here and 1 here. And now it's not true. 3 is not less than 1. Right? We have to have them in, it's kind of like when we wrote out our domain and we made them in numerical order. Putting them in Pac-Man order like this is putting them in numerical order.
Oh yeah, because our answer's in between that. So
Uh-huh.
That's gonna be bigger. Okay, yeah.
There we go.
I see why it's written out like that. That's just kind of confusing.
Okay, we got a light bulb over here, and maybe this is going to help some of you remember how to write this too. Remember when we were writing out our domain and range, and I said, you don't have to, but it's a good idea to write them in numerical order? If I said write stuff from least to greatest, does it make sense to write 3, 4, and 1?
No.
Now, I have no idea what n is, so I could go anywhere. But is 1 bigger than 4?
No.
I would want that in front, right? That's why when we say from small boundary and in the middle, big boundary, you're putting them in numerical order. You're putting them from least to greatest. And because they're least to greatest, Pac-Man is always going to eat the bigger number to the right. Okay? Solve separately. Well, first, Pax in line. Pax in line. We say, and maybe you don't want to put the big and in between them and you just want to do this. So you got to know that these are two separate things. Okay? Contestant 1. Add 2. 0 it out. Got n is greater than -1. Which means I'm going to have an open circle at -1 to the right, to the right. I'm going to subtract 4. 0 out, n is less than 2. Open circle at 2 to the left, to the left. If I do a quick sketch like that, you can see where they overlap, right? Everywhere in between. So that's my answer. Open circle at -1. Open circle at 2. Get rid of the other stuff. And because I see where my answer is, that informs how I write my answer. -1, 2, n is in between them, just like a numbered list, right? Smallest, middle, biggest. But because my big numbers are always on that side, Pac-Man always eats that way. This is your answer. Yes. Like that is literally how you write a and compound inequality. Writing the answer that way. Okay? Those two things, yellow stuff, that is answer. I need that. Okay? Now 12 looks a little funky. Because it's a triple balance, right? So it's going to be real hard to triple balance something because do not write any of what I'm about to do. If I try to maybe subtract d here, subtract d here, subtract d here. Now I got -3 less than, don't write any of this, d plus 12 less than d plus 32. You're like, oh, cool. I got rid of one of the variables. I'm going to go get rid of this guy now. And how many of us are going to make this exact mistake of only doing here and here? Aren't you supposed to do it in all three places? Well, what happens now? Yeah, I get rid of this guy, but didn't I just throw one over here when I just got rid of it? And you're going to keep going back and forth between them. You're gonna be like a Yorkie chasing your tail. You're never getting anywhere. So this one's kind of special. Remember when I showed you that if I had x is greater than 1 and then x is less than 5? Remember how I said we can flip this guy around like that? Because when I do, you see how it becomes my x sandwich. I can use that in reverse. If I can take two inequalities and smack them together in the middle, kind of look like I'm like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers here, right? If I can put two things together in the middle, then I can also split them apart and have them share the middle. And that's big brain skill right there. Big brain skill says I have two inequalities. The first one, d minus 3 is less than 6d plus 12. The other one, and they're telling me that I can separate these like this. Really? You're going to do every single one of them? Do you see how they both share that guy in the middle? Okay. Custody battle. Sometimes you're with mom, sometimes you're with dad. Okay. They're going to share that thing in the middle. So they're both going to have this. I'm going to have two separate inequalities. So solve them both. You're going to have contestant. I'm going to write it a little smaller. D minus 3 is less than 6d plus 12. 6d plus 12 is less than 2d plus 32. And big fat old and. Just like I can take two and inequalities and smack them together, I can take an and inequality and pull it apart, so long as they share that middle. Solve them separately. For blue guy, where do I want my variable to be by the time I'm done? We want it in the middle, right? So I'll move him over. But now I don't have to worry about that third chunk. Suppose I need that Paxton line or someone's going to yell at me. Okay. I zero that out. I've got negative 3 is less than 5d's plus 12. Who's lonely? Bring him a date. Who's coming over? How? Okay. Minus 12, minus 12. Zero out, got 5d's and negative 15. Now what? Divide. Divide by 5, divide by 5. Getting negative 3 and d. Keep Pac-Man or flip it? When do I flip the inequality? When? Not just divide, divide by negative. When I multiply or divide by a negative, did I multiply or divide by a negative? I don't care if it was already there. Did I divide by the negative? No. So keep the inequality the way it was. Go over to the other one. Where do I want my variable again? At the end of this, because they shared this, I want it in the middle, right? So I can smack them back together. So, subtract 2d. This is big, big, big brain stuff. If you could do this all the way through by yourself, like sign up for Algebra 1 next year. You got the stuff. Okay, this is tough stuff. I got 4d plus 12 less than 32. Who's lonely? And if you're lonely by 32, yeah, you probably are in your basement or mom's basement trolling people on Reddit. How do I get, what do I move?
Minus 12.
Minus 12. Minus 12. 0 out. Get 4d's less than 20. Almost there. Divide both sides by 4. Do I flip Pac-Man or not? Okay. Now see how with both of these, my inequalities are still all eating that way. I still have d in the middle. Look at what happens when we put them together. You go in middle. You go in middle. There's my answer. Literally in between those two. Now, if I can't do that because you can't move things around your paper like this, can I sketch those answers? Okay, could I sketch on that number line that contestant number 1 is at -3 going this way, and contestant number 2 is at 5 going this way? You can still see that they're in between, right? So that's my answer. Everywhere in between. -3 is less than d is less than 5. Open circle everywhere between. And that is tough. Being able to split like that is tough. Like, this is the kind of compound inequality that I would probably use to review in Algebra 2 in terms of its level of complexity. You are not going to have to do this on a test. I might throw 1 or 2 more at you on an assignment just to practice. Okay? It's just like weightlifting for your brain, right? You don't stop in the middle of a game and you're like, everyone, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let me grab this big, heavy bar. Okay, the game can resume. Like, you don't do that. But you still do it in the weight room, right? Get stronger, faster. Okay, I know a couple of you are meatheads. Do you stretch after lifting like you're supposed to?
No, I roll out.
Dude, you don't stretch beforehand because you want your muscles at their natural tension, the way that they are normally. You stretch afterwards. Do you? Okay. Flip it over. What is the opposite of and? Or. And is very restrictive. And says you have to be this and you have to be that. If it's not both, it ain't part of my answer. Or says we good. If it's part of this or part of that, everything in there is now my answer, which allows me to do something really cool. I can go opposite directions. Check out number 1. B is greater than 2. Where's my circle? Open or closed? So I'm going to go at 2, open circle. Which way? To the right, to the right. B, less than or equal to -3, open or closed. And that says left. Now, if this was an and, where are they overlapping?
Nowhere.
So if this said and, my answer would be no solution. There's nothing that's overlapping. But because it says or, like y'all were just doing registration stuff, looking at classes. Maybe you were going to do the CTE, the Career and Technical Education endorsement. Remember that you can do CTE classes or foreign language for certain criterias. Those have nothing to do with each other, right? You're not going to go take wood shop in Portuguese. Like, we have no overlap there. But you could do this or this, and it still meets that criteria for graduation. Even though these have nothing to do with each other. This is the answer. Because anywhere that I shaded is my answer. This is part of my answer, this is part of my answer. If I try to say -1, nah. But if I try to say 1, nah. If I try to say 4, yeah, we good. If I try to say -4, yeah, we good. Okay. This is my answer, and the way that I write an OR inequality is literally just to stick an OR between the two parts of my answer. I don't and sandwich these. Because look at how it would, man, if we tried to write that, how stupid this would be. What if I tried to put b less than 2, b less than 3? What if I tried to, oh, but then the b's are over this way. So I'll just flip this guy around. I'll say -3b like this. Y'all agree this is the same thing, I hope. It's still b in -3, it's just flipped, and Pac-Man's still eating -3. But look at what happens when I try to put them together. Look at your inequality. This says 2 is less than -3. This says -3 is greater than 2. What happens when someone comes up to you and they said, hey man, you want to go out for lunch? You're like, nah, dude, I only got $3 in my bank account. That's okay, lunch only costs 10. Like, are you hearing what I just said? It doesn't make sense, right? Or you get the true friend who's like, I didn't ask if you had money. I said, do you want to come for lunch? We call that aggressive affection. Okay. 4, graph both. Graph both. And then anywhere that is shaded is my answer. Try it. I just want to make sure we can do it right. Everywhere that's shaded is right. Is 4 open or closed? Left or right? Wait a second. P is less than 8's not even on there. What do I do? We can go off-road a little bit here. 7, 8. Open or closed at 8. Left. Okay, I just said a couple minutes ago that sometimes we're going to get weird unicorn-looking problems where sometimes Well, unicorns ain't supposed to exist. Leprechauns ain't supposed to exist. Very, very rarely you might be out hiking in the hills and you see a leprechaun riding down a trail on top of a unicorn. This is one of those times. Right? Well, if you do, you probably ate some of the mushrooms on the trail you ain't supposed to eat. If I see this, is one or the other true? Yeah, at least one of them's true, right? Is one or the other true? Is one or the other true? Is one or the other true? Yes. So everywhere that's shaded is my answer. That means sometimes, just like with our AND problems, one overrules the other. Because, oh, I hit the button. When this happens, one can overrule the other. If I'm at, what was it, 4 and 8? If I see this, and I say and, where are both of them true? Nuh-uh. Where are both of them true? From 4 and back. So if it was an and, I'd have to pick this one as my answer. It would overrule the other one. This says or. Where is one or the other true? All the way back here, right? So I pick the bigger one. And an or are going to change which one I choose. Okay. So we should have a blank spot somewhere. We're going to make a little chart. A little cheater chart. Down at the bottom you got room? Okay. Tian, pick a number 1 through 10. 7. Okay. Dylan, pick a number 1 through 10.
2.
Okay. So I'm going to put, if I say x is less than 2, x is less than 7. If I say x is less than 2, x is greater than 7. If I say x is greater than 2, x is greater than 7. If I say x is greater than 2, x is less than 7. Now you write all of those and leave room next to them. No, all 4 of these are different. It's a combination of lefts and rights. Because next to these I'm going to write and or. Okay. So we're going to have a number line. Actually, number line, number line, number line, number line. Number line, number line, number line. I think we can all agree that these are going to be open circles. Okay. We're about to start graphing all of them, and then I'll tell you whether it's and or which one the answer is. Okay? Yeah, it would probably help if those were different colors, wouldn't it? Okay, on the first one, is 2 headed right or left? Okay. So I'm going to go this way. I'm going to go this way. On the second one, is 2 headed right or left? On the third and fourth ones, where's 2 headed? Okay. Do the same thing for 7. Do the same thing for 7. 7 is headed left. 7 is headed left. 7 is headed left. 7 is headed, oh wait. On new problem, hold on. That was close. 7's headed right, 7's headed right. 7's headed right. 7's headed right. 7's headed left. 7's headed left. So these are the different ways that the graphs can end up. Yes, you have 2 of the same graph next to each other. That's okay, because we're going to put ands and ors in there because the answer is different depending whether it says and or. Now do you see what I mean by chart? Okay. So under and, where are these both true?
2.
From 2 back, right? They're not both true here. So my answer is this guy. He overtakes the other one. Right below that, 2 and 7 are going opposite directions. Where are they both true? Nowhere. So what's the solution? No solution. Okay, this one said x was less than 2. This one was no solution. Look at the third one. They're both headed to the right. I said and. Where are they both true?
7.
So x is greater than 7 is my answer. It overtakes the other one. And down at the bottom, they are going towards each other and overlapping, and I said and. Those are the ones we started with yesterday and just finished doing. Those ones, you're going to shade everything between them. And we're going to say 2 is less than x is less than 7 as an and sandwich. But when I switch to or, remember it's is one or the other true? Where is one or the other true? everywhere from 7 and back, right? Oh. Does that suck? Did the color suck?
No.
Color suck? No, not you. You. Thank you. Different color. Red? No. Blue? No. Bright yellow? Probably not. Dark blue? Light blue? Cyan? Cyan? About there? Okay. All right. We have a vote for that. So it's everything from here over. I just wanted it to be different than the other side. Because it was everything from there back, I'd say x is less than 7 is my answer. Now, for the second one, it's here, it's there, and I said or. Where is it true? Both of them. So I'm actually going to say that. I'm going to say x is less than 2 or x is greater than 7. Because both parts are now my answer. Back here and here. Or I should say back here or here. They're both part of my answer. Third one. Where is one or the other true? Everywhere from, are you really hammering home this idea of and or? If one of them's true, it's part of my answer. For or. For and, they both got to be true or else. So on the third one, this overrules that one. So I'd say x is greater than 2. Real thinker. Look at that very last one. Where one or the other exists, that is my answer. But where do I stop? Like on this one, it was negative infinity all the way to 2, and then from 7 all the way to infinity. Where do I stop? You don't. What was the opposite of no solution? I heard it. All. Ends with real numbers? Hey, you guys are good. Okay, literally. Oh, nope, that's not the highlighter. Okay. All real numbers. If you have an or and they overlap like this, headed in opposite directions, stop that. It's literally everything. Where is one or the other true? Yes. I hope you have this written down because this is your cheater chart to doing any compound inequality. Like free A on your first test kind of cheater chart. How about the kid who throws away all of their notes before their final? Hint, hint. This would be really handy. In fact, it's so handy, I'm going to screenshot this so that I can bring it back up later when you forget it entirely and ask, where is this in your notes? New. Yeah, or do that. Just take a picture of it too. Well, boy, Frank running slow over here. My knees cry in sympathy. All right. So let's do some more of these OR ones, and I think we'll be okay. These four. Graph them. Sketch graph this one, sketch graph this one. What is my answer? Because it says or in between them. Sketch graph both, or. Where is one or the other true? Just keep coming back to that cheater chart. Boy, that thing handy. Where is one or the other true? Not gonna lie, compound inequalities they can be tough.
Where's that? Okay, fine.
Where's what?
The pump. Oh,
I know I don't really have a header at the top of these pages. If I remember right, I kind of threw them together last minute in the yesteryears. Graph these four, check with your neighbors. It's not enough to just do your sketch graph, then tell me what the answer is. Based off that cheater chart, tell me the answer. Does one overtake the other? So you just have a thing for your answer? Or do they go Splitsville in opposite directions and you have to say or between two answers? Sometimes you have to say or between them because they go opposite directions. And then the assignment part, we're going to mix and match. You're going to have and or. And or. Both and with or.
so would this be the answer?
No.
No.
Literally, this is the answer. You just stick the word or in between them.
Oh, really?
Well, that's why we're writing them down here. Yeah. See, I was going to try to highlight a bunch of stuff, but then I realized that I'm in a room full of teenagers and those don't exactly look right. Contestant one. Closed circle here. To the right, to the right. Or is it to the left, to the left? Because that doesn't look like it normally does it? Can you pancake flop that around? Pac-Man still eats 3, and now you know which way it goes? Nothing wrong with rewriting it like that. Okay. Contestant 2 says Q is less than or equal to 1. I go put a closed circle here. Everywhere to the left. And it says OR. Where is one or the other true? Is one or the other true? Is one or the other true?
Yes.
Is one or the other true?
Yes.
Is one or the other true?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm going to take this red one and I'm just going to get rid of it because, come on you, this one overtakes the other one. This is my answer. Because one overtook the other. All right. Here I'm going to say at -4 to the left, at 0 to the right. And it says or. Where is one or the other true? Both. So you write both as your answer. Y is less than or equal to -4 or y is greater than 0. Your answer is literally the problem. That is the answer. It'd be like if I asked, I don't know, where is your clothes? Where are your spare clothes? What happens if you live with mom and dad sometimes and you live with grandma other times? Might you have stuff in both places? Here or here. They're both part of my answer. Okay? Like, I live 20 miles away from the high school that I went to. When you had decent storms, no, I just stayed with grandma and grandpa in town. Okay? I had stuff in both places. Some of you got stuff with mom, some of you got stuff with dad, some of you got stuff with uncle. Maybe you got a crash bag with your friend's parents when crap just happens and you need to stay somewhere else. I've had kids get kicked out of their parents' house. Okay? You can be in both places. That might be part of your answer. Same here. I'm everywhere back to the left. I'm everywhere off to the right. And because of that magic word or, this is my answer. Everywhere here or here. This one's kind of goofy again. If I need to flip it around, everywhere that way. This one looks kind of goofy again. Flip it around. That says everywhere from here onward. Where is one or the other true? Look at your jitter chart. If I say or and they're both going the same direction, do I choose the bigger one or the smaller one?
Small.
Is 5? Oh, that says D is bigger then. Man, Sullivan's off today. I think y'all got more now than you did during the entire second quarter. That way and that way. Wait a second. Uh-oh. If I say or, what's the answer? When they're like this. Everywhere. One of them's true at some point. So here's the real cool part. The graph of your answer, everything. All real numbers, everything. Everybody allowed to this party. What about 6? Choose the bigger one or the smaller one for or. Bigger one for or. Or is more inclusive. So x is greater than or equal to -2 is my answer. I don't need this guy. That's just my answer. It'd be like if I said, you know what? Either you need to work 10 hours this week or work on Saturday. Well, what happens if you work a 10-hour shift on Saturday? Got you covered, right? You met both conditions at the same time. It's still part of your answer. Down below, every single one of these are just, I solve both, sketch both. That's my answer. Okay? Now, I'm going to cut it off there, though. I want to come back and do more of this on Wednesday, and then you're going to have time in class for the assignment part of it, which if you flip the page, you see is a mixture of and or, and sometimes they don't even tell you. Too bad. Okay? So I just think that's a good place to stop naturally.